Hey, folks, my guest today is Jake Diner. He's the former Big Ten track and field champion, graduated from Michigan State University with a degree in computer science in 2001, spent the first 10 years of his business in product management roles, and then since has founded his first startup in 2011, raising tens of millions in venture financing. He's been entrenched in his entrepreneurial journey, building companies and solving global tech problems affecting millions. Today, he's building Fertility Cloud, where Jake serves as CEO. He's on a mission to bring affordable and accessible fertility treatment to all in need. Jake, are you ready to take us to the top?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
My first question here is, why is a guy leading a fertility business? It feels like a female that maybe went through these problems would be a better CEO. How's that work?
Well, my family went through this. So I've been supporting my wife in our infertility journey. Took us many, many years to get pregnant and start raising a kid. So when I exited from my last startup, I started exploring what am I going to do next. So I got in touch with my college buddy, Dr. Gary Levy, and we discussed his work. And being an entrepreneur myself, I identified some problems in the way fertility care is delivered because I've gone through this. And I essentially said, hey, if I help you find patients, if I help streamline all the back office operations, if I remove the headaches of insurance, can you essentially help people for the tenth or maybe 20th fraction of the price, which I ended up paying? And he said, yes, we as doctors, we hate all the things which is non-related to the medical. And so that's the idea of Fertility Cloud Forum. We thought, well, we have specialists who know how to help women and couples to get pregnant. We just need to bring technology in to remove the headaches. So we decided to build, for the lack of a better word, Amazon for fertility treatment.
So, Jake, before we dive into that, let's close up the story on your last business. Name it again for us. What was the name of that company and how do you spell it?
It was a Lafris. We're building virtual insurance agents.
Virtual insurance agents. And now how much did you raise there?
So we raised about $1.5 million.
Okay. And when did you sell that business?
In 2019.
Okay. And why was it the right time to sell?
Well, actually, it was the only time to sell. And that, from my perspective, it was a failure. The business failed. What failed there is not the technology and the product that we built. The failed is my understanding of the demand. So we built a product, and insurance company said, thank you, but no, thank you. We don't really need it. We don't really want it. So we was like, well, what are we going to do with this? Let's find somebody who can take it off our hands so we can return some small amount of money to our investors and call it quits.
I respect that so much. How much money were you able to return back to investors?
Oh, we barely broke even. It was a failure. The product market fit did not work.
Were you able to give back the 1.5 million or no? There was no money left.
No money left.
I see.
We were able to pay off the debts, and that's it.
Got it. And what year was that?
2019.
2019. Got it. Okay. So when, without getting too personal too quickly here, when did you and your wife start trying to have a child? Was that in 2019?
Oh no, we were trying to get pregnant in from 2007.
Oh wow. Okay. So there was an issue. You looked at solutions. What was the sticker cost you were going to have to pay for some of these solutions?
Okay. So 2007, when we first said, all right, we want to start a family. And we thought it's going to be fun and easy, right? Like back in the college days. Then it turns out, no, it's hard. So we went through the entire IVF treatment cycle. It took us about 7 years to go through multiple procedures. We ended up spending about $45,000 and nothing worked. Everything that we've done just resulted in miscarriages. So after 7 years going to the doctor, spending lots of money, seeing Western specialists, Eastern medicine, went to the Chinese doctors who were practicing that type of medicine, and nobody could identify what's wrong. We're just spending money on surgeries, on drugs, on medication, on herbs. Nothing would help. Until I start talking back to my college friend, Dr. Gary. I said, look, it's just not working. What's happening? And he said, you can do things differently and it's going to cost you way less money. And he advised us what we should do. And we became pregnant. So essentially my daughter was born in 2014. And I've been a parent, throughout my previous startups, but I always remembered how hard it was. And I remember how much money we spent. And I remember the emotional toll on my wife and on myself going through all those treatments. So I had the pain first. It's a first-hand knowledge of the pain we've gone through.
And so what did that college professor recommend and what did it cost?
So essentially, he said, look, you guys don't have to go through such invasive procedures all the time because there's a big stress factor involved into going through the egg extraction, insemination, then implantation of the embryo back into the uterus. So he said, look, we already spent all this money. You know that you can get pregnant, but you cannot carry. So let's start looking into the reasons why you're having miscarriages instead of trying to implant the embryo over and over again, right? If you repeat the same thing and expect different outcome, there's something wrong with you. So at that time, I said, you know what? I'm not doing any more IVF. I just don't have any more money left for this. And he said, no, you can do it much, much cheaper and over a longer period of time. So what he ended up suggesting is that, look, start taking certain medication. My wife, actually, it was for my wife. So she will start taking certain medication, which was not as intrusive and as painful as previously when you're getting ready for the IVF itself.
And what did that cost? What did that process cost?
I think over the 6 months, we spent maybe $2,000.
Oh, wow. Way cheaper than $45K. You had a beautiful,
That's right.
Beautiful daughter. So let's fast forward now to how you're helping others do this. What is My Fertility Cloud? Is it a SaaS play?
So Fertility Cloud is an online fertility treatments platform. It connects the doctors, REI doctors, reproductive endocrinology and infertility specialists, with the patients using video calls. After a conversation between the patient and the doctor then comes up with if they need missing tests. So if something is missing, we would order those tests again to deliver to the patient's home. After that, the doctor would prescribe a medication, which would also get delivered to the patient's home. So the idea here is really to make infertility treatment as easy as possible without the need to go to the clinic, without the need to do those expensive surgeries. And by removing all this overhead, we made it really, really cheap. So now a woman doesn't have, or couple doesn't have to, kind of go for the second mortgage just to afford it.
Maybe, yeah. So how successful has it been? How much revenue did you do last month?
Oh, man. So we've been organically. We haven't raised any money. We've done everything from our pocket. And we so far treated about 700 women in 6 months. We on average see 100 new patients every month. The last month's revenue, I think, was about 45K. And it's all organic. So,
and what do they pay? Is it a one-time fee to talk to a doctor, or is it subscription?
So it's a one-time fee to actually see the doctor. After that, it is a recurring payment for the duration of the treatment. They stop the treatment once they get pregnant. Yep. Or we jointly understand that we cannot help them, and then we triage them to a more intrusive form of treatment, which would be a surgery if they can afford or agree to this.
So you sort of are interesting in that you don't have traditional SaaS economics, because if you work, they stop paying you because it was successful. So how do you add on product lines after you deliver that first success so that you can build a long-term customer relationship and increase LTV of these moms and dads?
So this is the second phase of our company. First, we want to acquire patients. First, we want to see that we help them and we build the trust, because now we are the doctors who help them get pregnant. The next piece is support them through the pregnancy. And there is a whole bunch of products that women and couples need while they're still carrying. But more importantly, you have even longer tail is the baby business, right? It's and I'm a parent, so I know how much money I spend on my kid. Some of it justifiable, some of it not.
How much did you spend in the first year of a newborn?
Oh, yeah, I don't know, maybe between $5,000 to $10,000.
Wow. Okay.
So we're just another couple like anyone else, right? You're trying to get as much as you can for a kid, and end up spending too much money on crap they don't use. But that's life.
So how many out of that revenue, by the way, do you pay? How many doctors on your platform, and do the doctors get paid? Do you pay them?
Of course. So right now we have 4 doctors on our platform. Doctors get paid hourly. They get paid for each consultation that they do. And
how much?
So the doctors get paid about $200 an hour.
And What are they full time though with you? Like, what if you have a whole day where there's no consultations? Do they still get paid 200 hourly or no, nothing?
So it's a really good question. With the doctors, you don't really want the doctor to be 100% on your on the stuff and do nothing, because they still have to practice. And so our doctors, they're mostly working as contractors for us. So they still have time to go through the surgeries, go through other type of medical training, and work the hospitals, because we want them to be active surgeon, active doctors who treat patients right now in your typical clinical setting.
I see. And help me understand the team today. How many folks?
So we have, as I said, we have 4 doctors, we have 2 nurses, we have 3 office staff, and 3 have office staff supporting, and we outsource our development. So this time we decided not to bring any developers in-house, because we haven't kicked in our AI component of the solution. And this is our secret sauce, because as we scale, we see in a huge bottleneck in operations is the actually patient relationship. Is how do you answer those endless questions that patients ask? And you cannot just send them to an FAQ. It's like, hey, here, look up your answer here.
How did you find those outsourced engineers? Did you use a firm like Coditas or SimFarm or TopTal, or how did you find them?
Well, those are the same people who I've used for my previous companies. So those are the developers who, once we shut down our old company, they essentially we had to let go our developers. So they were essentially became freelancers. So now when I have another project, I just come to them and said, hey, here's the project I want you to do, but I'm not going to hire you. I'm going to pay as a freelancer. So they have that.
Jake, we're wrapping up. We're out of time. How much revenue do you guys think you'll do this year?
My hope is to get to about 800,000 this year.
And how much have you done so far?
We've done about 450, something like that.
We're rooting for you, man. Let's wrap up here at the Famous 5. Number 1, favorite business book?
Again, those questions. From good to great.
Guys, you guys don't know this, but Jake was an OG on the show. He came on 4 years ago when we had just launched, and now we've done over 3,000 episodes. So Jake, I love having you back on. Good to great is number 1. Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
Honestly, nobody.
Okay.
I just don't follow anyone.
Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building My Fertility Cloud?
Zapier.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
5.
And what's your situation? Married, single, kids? Well, we know we have one married with at least 1 kid. How many kids?
That's 1.
Oh, 1. Okay, great. And how old are you?
I am 47.
47. Last question. Something you wish you knew when you were 20.
Not afraid to take risks.
Guys, you heard it here first. His first company failed. He was super transparent about it. Launched directly into My Fertility Cloud, called 1.5 years, 2 years ago. Now it's up to over 700 couples get treatment from the 4 doctors they have on their payroll. It's a marketplace model. They're doing $45,000 a month in revenue, almost $500,000 so far this year in revenue. Hoping to hit 800,000 by the end of the year. We are rooting for you, Jake. Thanks for taking us to the top.
Thank you, Nathan.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company, or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com /Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.